Hello, my name is Marty Peterson. I'm the winemaker for Cosentino Winery, and here today to present Cigar Zen, our 2015 vintage from my home AVA of Lodi, California. Very excited to represent this wine and the AVA of Lodi. I'm a fourth generation wine grape grower from that region. My great grandfather settled there in 1904, and my grandfather, father, and my brothers and I continue to farm there in Lodi to this day. The grapes for Cigar Zen are sourced from different vineyards in Lodi, primarily on the west side of Lodi in sort of a Hanford Sandy Loam basin area. Lodi is conveniently nestled in between the Sierra Nevada mountain range and the Joaquin River Delta, or as we know it, the Bay Area. So if you took a string and you drew it from the Golden Gate Bridge and all the way up to South Lake Tahoe, right in the middle of that would be Lodi. And it's a very important geographical standpoint for wine grape growing. We're fortunate to be in the valley. We have a really abundant heat, which Zinfandel loves. It needs heat. It likes to ripen. We have dry summers that prevent a lot of pest issues like mildew and rot. But then in the evening, when that heat dissipates, it actually lifts up into the atmosphere. It draws in wind right under the Golden Gate Bridge off of the very, very cold Pacific Ocean and drops the temperature there in Lodi. Those temperatures overnight can drop to 45 degrees. So while we'll have a 100-degree day for ripening, we can have a 45-degree evening. Very important to get these ripe, really red, raspberry, huckleberry type of fruit flavors. But then overnight, that cool shuts the vine down, it tightens up the stomatas, and it retains the acid in the wine, which helps to balance our Zinfandels. We also irrigate most of these vineyards with wine through a canal system that my great-grandfather and my grandfather worked to build, and that water is sourced off a snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada mountains. So very pure, very clean, deep, rich Hanford Sandy Loam soils. A lot of the Zinfandel is either on its own root or St. George rootstock. 30 to 60-year-old grapevines, depending on where we're standing. One of the vineyards that my brothers and I still farm, my grandfather planted. It's about 45 years old, and it's very much a crown jewel in our family, and it goes into this wine. Our vines are head trained for the most part, so that means they're going to come up and they're going to be trained out as a freestanding grapevine. It's going to have 360 degrees of exposure. Zinfandel grows well in that fashion. It has a really good architecture in the tissue itself, and it can sustain that setup. Also, older vines, 50, 60 years ago, we didn't have trellis systems, so these old vineyards are inherently going to be head trained in an old world style. Nice thing about Lodi, we start early, meaning our bud break sort of March, first part of March, and we end late, so we can be picking into October. Really long growing season. So you'll notice that about our Cigar Zen, in that we can accumulate bricks. We can get sugar. As we all know, higher sugars, higher alcohols. With today's more defined yeast selections, we can ferment those out to dryness and have a very stylistic and what I would consider modern style of Zinfandel, which is this fully loaded cigar box of Zinfandel. Loud and proud, not afraid, bashful at all, ready to hang out, no doubt about it. We put this on some French and American oak, and it gets that kind of sandalwood cigar box nutmeg note to it, which I really like. I think that complements those kind of huckleberry, raspberry aromatics.